Me today. Oh, there you go. It's recording now. Got it. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you again for taking time to attend this presentation. Sorry, I'll be looking over this way because the presentation's this way. But today I'm going to be talking about careers and internship opportunities at SMUD. So quick agenda for today. I'll go ahead and introduce myself, tell a little bit more about myself, who is SMUD, go over the resume tips, and then SMUD careers. I'll talk about our internship and scholarship opportunities, and then we can go into the Q&A portion. So before we get started, my name is Jennifer Madamba. I manage the internship and scholarship programs at SMUD. I've been working here ever since January of 2016. I actually started off as a college intern, and I've been here ever since. So it's been a great experience so far, lots of growth and opportunities in these past 6 years. Just out of curiosity, has anyone heard of SMUD? If you can just raise your hand, do the emoji. Okay, awesome. So we have a few who know what SMUD is. So I'll talk about it in a little bit, but we're gonna do a quick pop quiz. I know pop quizzes aren't really something that you look forward to, but just some facts to share about our company. So how many employees do you think we have at SMUD? And you feel free to unmute yourself. Unfortunately, I can't see the chat, but how many employees do you think are at SMUD? And then if Alyssa, if somebody answers in the chat, do you mind saying it out loud?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome, thank you. How many employees do you think we have here at SMUD?
Just as a guess, I'll say D.
D? Okay, awesome. No, that's a great guess. That's a great guess. You're very close. The answer is C, 2,278. So the average salary for a SMUD employee, what do you think that is?
I'll say B.
B? Very close again, 90. It's actually $104,000 is the average salary for an employee. And where can I apply for a job at SMUD?
I'm going to say C.
C? Yep, correct. SMUD.org. Thank you for participating. So if you don't know what SMUD is, SMUD provides electricity for the greater Sacramento region, but not only do we provide electricity, but we make sure that our customers also live a good quality life. So SMUD is community owned. We have a lot of programs for our community members, whether that's residential customers, commercial customers, small businesses. So we don't care just about your electricity, but we care for your overall well-being. So we do have something called the Board of Directors. So our, let's see if the next slide, our region is split up by 7 wards. So each ward has a board of director. So they're elected and they kind of oversee the goals of our organization, hold us accountable. In most organizations, everybody reports up to the CEO and that's the furthest it goes. But for SMUD, the CEO reports to the board of directors. So really we report back to our community here at SMUD. So careers at SMUD. We have our careers posted at smud.org/careers. You can search for regular full-time positions or our student jobs or our internship positions. For the career search, one thing that you'll notice is that I know when I was younger, growing up in SMUD service area, I always thought that SMUD just hired engineers, but that's definitely not the case. And I'll go over a couple of different jobs that we have available at SMUD. Before we get into that, I wanted to share a little bit about resumes. So just to give you some resume tips, And I'm sure most of you already know this already too. But when it comes to resumes, I can tell you the recruiters screen each one, right? We screen through each one. There are different parts to a resume. So we have the objective portion, but also people have started using what they call executive summaries to kind of describe their experience and how they meet the job qualification. We also have for students, the education portion, especially if you're a student and you're applying for internships, you really want to put your education at the top because that's the first thing that we usually check, right? For internships, are you currently a student? So including your education, your graduation date. So instead of saying, University of the Pacific, fall 2019 to present. You want to say expected graduation date, spring 2022 or spring 2024, because that will give us a better idea of, if you're a senior, if you're a junior, instead of 2019 to present. In education, you also want to make sure to list any courses that you feel are relevant to the position. Sometimes for some of our student intern positions, some managers like to know if students have taken XYZ courses. So if they ask that in the desirable qualifications of a job posting, you want to make sure to put that in there. You want to highlight and quantify how you meet the minimum qualifications. So just in general, not just with jobs at SMUD, but if you're applying for a position, you always want to look at the minimum and desirable qualifications for the position and making sure that it's clear that you meet those qualifications, right? So if one of our desirable qualifications is that the student is proficient in Excel, I can assume that a good chunk of students know how to use Excel, but you want to make sure to put it on your resume and not just listing under skills that you know Microsoft Excel, but show us how you know how to use it. Maybe you've created pivot tables on Microsoft Excel for a past internship or a project that you've had at school, or maybe you used it to enter data, created pie charts, or used it to, I don't know, use it for data tracking or something like that. So we want to see not only that you have it on your resume, but know how you use it. And it's important to quantify your accomplishments, right? So if I were to say I screen resumes on my application, that doesn't sound as good as screened 1,000 resumes for 10 open requisitions, right? So adding those numbers just shows how powerful or how big of an impact you are making at your organization. And again, skills, listing out your proficiency in it, but not just saying that. I think anybody can say, oh yeah, I'm advanced in Microsoft Word, but show me how you're advanced in Microsoft Word. And skills, any other languages that you may know, etc. And again, looking at that job posting to see what you need to add in there. So just a couple of resume tips for you. And I would also recommend including cover letters. I can tell you from personal experience, when I started off in recruiting, the way I was taught was to look at a cover letter first. And if the cover letter was good, then I can look at the resume. If there was no cover letter, I would not look at the resume at all. So some companies, I know there are some companies that I talked to a few weeks ago, they don't look at cover letters, but I've also worked with hiring managers who needed to make a decision between candidates and they had a tough time choosing. And they're like, okay, let me see their cover letter. And that kind of helped them make their decision. So it doesn't hurt to include the cover letter. If anything, it just doesn't get read in your application. So I mentioned earlier, and Sonia, what's your major?
I'm a pre-pharmacy major.
Pre-pharmacy major? Okay, awesome. And so we have a lot of different types of careers here at SMUD. So engineering is the more popular one. Here's the career path going from student position all the way up to a director. Fun fact, our CEO started off as a college intern in electrical engineering, I think 30 plus years ago. So he's been in the company for a while. So just information about engineering, how much you can make as an engineer, different careers in engineering. I know usually people think of electrical engineers, but we have a variety of different positions available within engineering. Another popular department here at SMUD is IT. People would joke around and say that SMUD is actually a technology company selling electricity, but IT is a very popular here at SMUD. We have a lot of student interns in this department. So there's a lot of different types. You have cybersecurity. We also have innovation, business relationship management, MIS, GIS. So there's a lot to work with when it comes to cybersecurity and just how much you can make in your role within IT. And again, here are some careers at SMUD, definitely not all of them, but some to point out. For career opportunities, I mentioned earlier that it's not just engineers that we're hiring for, but a variety of different roles, from graphics, digital media, to customer service and marketing, skilled trades. SMUD is it's like its own city. I feel like there is an occupation for everybody there. And depending on the position, some of the requirements are from a high school diploma all the way up to a bachelor's or master's degree that are desirable qualifications. So something worth looking around when it comes to SMUD. And here are just some examples of career opportunities at SMUD. Here it'll show different careers, how much they make, and then kind of what is needed. A bachelor's degree, some of them are just 1 to 3 years of experience in accounting for an accountant. But again, it's like its own little city. We hire skilled trades, STEM majors, marketing and customer service, and then graphics, communications, and digital media. So definitely jobs worth checking out. And I can show you later where you can find those different jobs on our SMUD website. So for internships and scholarships, SMUD has internships year round, depending on the department's need. So you can apply at smud.org/student-jobs. We also have our summer college internships. So every year, our application period is in January, so January 1st to January 31st. We're still finalizing the list of positions that we will be posting, but everything will be up there by January 1st. For summer of 2020 and 2021, it's mostly been virtual. We've had some students, depending on their role, like those in engineering, some of them had to, are working in the office. But for summer 22, I feel like with a lot of employers, we're not sure yet of what's going to happen, if we're going to be virtual or in person, but we are prepared to have the internship either way. We do have some minimum qualifications, being a full-time student. You can't be graduating earlier, or you must be graduating summer of 2022 and after, and then have no relatives working at SMUD. And again, making sure to have your resume and cover letter ready to go for our internship period application period from January 1st to January 31st. And one thing I want to highlight is that this is a 12-week paid internship program. Not only will you be gaining real-world experience, but we also have different events for you to help you with your personal and professional development. So we've had special guests. So we've had someone from LinkedIn come in and talk about how to make the most of your LinkedIn profile. We've had our employee resource groups at SMUD host a session on how to create an inclusive environment. And I think that's just so important, whether you are like as a student, especially, you can utilize that when you're at school, at your work, at your internship. And then also we have a virtual showcase. And then we've done National Intern Day, where we team up with our Young Professionals ERG. And then we have I Am Remarkable workshops, which is a Google initiative to help underrepresented people of underrepresented groups to self-advocate or promote themselves more and talk more about their accomplishments. And there is a lot. And we've had our students also do side projects, because some students are like, they get the experience within their team, but they also want to get experience working with other interns. So we've had interns do projects like a Clean Air Day project and a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion project. So both had to deal with marketing efforts and social media, creating TikTok videos. We did a volunteer activity where we turned old SMUD shirts into dog toys, and we donated that to Front Street Animal Shelter. So it was definitely a fun-filled summer. The only thing is that we wish that it was in person. I know things are a lot more fun in person, but of course, safety is number one, a number one priority. So we're hoping that next year is still as successful as it was in previous years as well. Let's see. We also have a scholarship. So if you live in SMUD service area or know anyone who does, they can be eligible for this scholarship. So our application period will be in early 2022. We give out up to $60,000 worth of scholarships to 21 students. And along with that scholarship, there's an opportunity to get an internship as well. So you can learn more about that at smud.org/scholarships. And then that is the end of the presentation today. I know it was rather quick, but I want to reserve some time for Q&A, and I can go ahead and pull up the career website to show you more information about our jobs and like the salaries that we have here at SMUD. Do you have any questions?
Not really, but okay, maybe a question I could ask is like, so I'm like a pre-pharmacy major, and then I'm getting my BA in applied science, but like in like 2 years from now. What would I apply for, like your your summer intern? Like what can I apply for, since I'm not like an engineer major or like a technology major per se?
Oh man, there's a lot that you can apply for, and I would recommend, so a few years ago, we actually had a scholarship winner from UOP, pre-pharmacy. She ended up doing an internship in our group in workforce outreach, which is not related to what what you wanted to do, but also thinking about, when you think about your career, thinking about what skills do you want to gain, right? So if you want to go into if you want to go into pharmacy, but you're like, okay, pharmacy requires a lot of customer service. You want to create a great relationship with your patients, your customers. Maybe that's something you want to explore, so you can kind of get a different perspective on it. I'm trying to think of what else. What do you think pharmacy majors or a pharmacist, what kind of skills do you think they need to be successful?
Well, I had like a friend who did this like over the summer, and she was telling me a little bit about how I think you could, like SMUD has like a waste like disposal part of your company as well.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like neutralizing like acids and like things that are like in the environment, or things that are used. So like that's another thing that's a part of like pharmacy. It's a lot of like chemistry centered, reaction centered, and like neutralizing things so that it's safe for the environment. So kind of like the environmental side and like the chemistry side of that. So
Yeah, that's definitely important. And yeah, just because you are like we don't have pharmacy positions at SMUD, but if you think about when you're planning out your internships and like your career, like what kind of volunteer opportunities you want, you definitely want to find those that will help you to be more well-rounded and to also give you an opportunity to learn more to add to your resume. So I think, I think a job like that would be great. I think even in customer service and just like anything communication is also a good one. If you end up being a like a manager, and if that's one of your goals, maybe doing something within project management would be helpful. And I think project management is just helpful across the board. So I feel like anything that you're interested in could be really helpful. Like I was a criminology, law and society major, but I feel like all my internships, like I remember out of college, I would always get the question of like, so you were a criminology major, but now you're going into HR. But it's always just trying to find the story of like, hey, like, these internships and these classes allowed me to gain skills in detail orientation, customer service, and just event planning to help me to be successful today. So just knowing what kind of opportunities will help you get to where you are. It doesn't necessarily need to be a pharmacy internship, but that's just my opinion about it. Sorry, did that help?
Yeah, that did. Thank you.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Let's see here. And one other thing I like to say is like, you also get like mentorship. So just having people in your life to, I know for some of these students, they keep in touch with their mentors over X amount of years, and they become like their references. Some of them become like friends, and like, just always like whenever I was trying to debate between like two jobs, I called my old internship manager and was like, hey, like, I don't know what to do. And she was there to give me advice. So just having that support system is a plus of doing internships as well. All right, so let me go ahead and share with you careers at SMUD. So here you'll see our, oops, sorry. Here you'll see, if you go to smud.org/careers, this is our website. If you click on working at SMUD, you'll see our current salary schedule. So if you look at, these are all the different jobs that we have here at SMUD. So if you're like, oh, I want to go into, let's see, environmental, right? Let's use that as an example. So environmental health and safety specialist starts off at $6,588 per month. So it'll give you an idea of how much employees make at SMUD. I know money is important for a lot of students. And then also just looking at job descriptions. So all of our job descriptions are accessible by anyone in the public. So if you're like, maybe let's say, when I graduate from college, I want to be eligible to be an accountant. So you can go ahead and click on accountant, and then it'll show you the minimum qualifications. So one piece of advice I got was to always think about your career 2 steps ahead. So looking at the minimum qualifications now and saying, okay, I need to make sure to get experience in budgeting, auditing, reporting functions, and I need to know what these acronyms mean, so that when a position does come up, then I'll be ready for it, right? I'll know what this is. By the time I graduate, I'll know how to do, budgeting, auditing, and reporting, and things like that. So this is just another resource. You just need a high school diploma for this one. Experience is 1 to 3 years in accounting. So if you can play around with this, you can look up any job, and it'll tell you what the job description is, and then the minimum qualifications. So if you want to explore that. And then, yeah, I think those are the main two that I wanted to point out. Are there any other questions? I'll stop sharing. Any other questions?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My question is, right now I'm the graduate student in UOP. I'm going to graduate next year, May. So if I'm eligible for the internship?
For the summer internship, since you are graduating, and are you pursuing another degree after May? Okay. So for the summer, you won't be eligible for that, but if anything opens throughout the school year, then you would be eligible to apply for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So not during the summer, but if something opens up between now and by the time you graduate, you can definitely apply for it.
Oh, so your company has internship all along the year?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Just depending on the department need.
I have another question. And do you support the OPT, CPT, or your company eventually can do the working visa?
Great question. So for the student hires, we do ask that you are able to provide documentation to prove that you're eligible to work in the U.S. And then either now or in the future, you would not need sponsorship from SMUD. So I'm not too well versed in that area, but I just know if you're able to provide documentation to prove that you're eligible to work in the US and that you would not need sponsorship now or in the future, then you can apply for the position.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great question. And then are there any other questions? Before I talk
one more question, sorry.
Yeah,
one more question.
Don't apologize.
Yeah. So this is regarding the internship. 12 weeks internship. After internship, if the candidates has a good performance, it is possible your company will send the return offer.
Yeah, good question. And for public service, so we are considered public service, so you would need to go through a competitive process. So even though you start as an intern, it's not guaranteed that you'll end up with a full-time position after the internship. You would need to apply for a position. But at least you have that experience of working in the organization and knowing the processes and programs that you're helping out with. But it's not a guaranteed position. You would need to still apply competitively for it.
I had a question. So I know you shared your personal story, Jennifer, that you started as an intern. And then I think you also mentioned that your CEO started as an intern. Would you say that SMUD, I know there's like over, I think the answer for the staff was like 2,300. Would you say a lot of the folks that are full-time working with SMUD started as the internship program?
That's a great question. I don't know of the population, how many of them are interns, but I know that we've had interns. I've heard other stories from other full-time employees. They were interns, and then there just wasn't a position available, so they started working somewhere else, and then they came back. I know a few off the top of my head who have done that. But I to be honest, I don't know out of the population how many were interns.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was just curious. And I will say, I know you mentioned kind of the remote work. The past year, the interns have been working from home. I will say, you mentioned TikTok. I actually saw one pop up on my feed from
Oh, really?
SMUD. So it is working, because it totally, when you said that, it jogged my memory. So the algorithm and the location is working. So yeah, that was really cool to see you using that type of like creative marketing, to reach out to the younger generation. So
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We also have high school interns. So over the summer, our marketing team also did a focus group with our high school interns and was like, okay, what kind of content do you want to see? Because they're the ones who use TikTok mostly. But yeah, it's just another platform. And we had a competition. I think it was just for maybe it was just middle school and high school students. But there was a TikTok competition on relating to our zero carbon plan for 2030. So we gave out scholarships to the winners. So we're trying to create more TikToks and getting more into that world and just get more people engaged.
yeah, definitely. And then, so I was on your website because I really appreciate you showing that salary schedule. I know you said the internship program application period opens January 1st. When are the postings going to be live to see what's available? Because I know right now it shows 0 when you search under the student jobs function.
Yeah, so it's gonna go live on January 1st.
Oh,
So
okay.
January 1st, you'll see, we're hoping to at least announce the positions before that. But since it launches on January 1st, you pretty much have about a month to cater your resume and cover letter to the job posting. So the deadline is January 31st, but it'll be all the positions for sure that we'll be recruiting for will be there January 1st.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. All right, but yeah, no, thank you for all your great questions, everyone, and thank you for spending time with me during our presentation today. I'll go ahead and toss the mic back over to Alyssa.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I know just for me personally, I've heard of SMUD growing up in the area. So this was super cool just to see all of the behind the scenes and especially the internship program, high school interns. That's really cool. I had no idea stuff like that existed when I was in high school. But yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Our students, if they do have questions as a follow-up, would you be okay if they reach out to you directly? Oh, you're on mute.
Of course I am. Okay, thank you. Sorry. I can go ahead and drop my LinkedIn URL on here. And students can go ahead and contact me through LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thanks so much. But again, we really appreciate your time. And to students, thank you so much for joining us. Are there any last minute questions before we wrap up? All right, well, I guess we will call it a day. We have this recording, so for any students who want it, we'll be able to share this with you and the other students who RSVP'd but weren't able to make it. But yeah, thank you so much again, Jennifer. We really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for having me and good luck to everybody.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye, thank you.